Hello everybody and welcome. It's Fiona Hooper here, landscape painter, and it's time for another edition of the Poetry of Painting. And this week it's my great pleasure to welcome back to the show my wonderful guest poet, Markey Mark Symmonds. Bear with me while I bring Markey Mark onto the screen. There we go. Hi Markey Mark, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Fiona. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, Happy New Year to you. I haven't seen you since New Year, have I?
No, that's right. It's great to be back. I seem to be a regular feature these days.
You are, yeah. So it's great to have you back. And
It's lovely to be back.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing your poem tonight, as I always do. But then I've,
You,
just all my poets, just wonderful, wonderful people, lovely poetry. So,
you're in for a treat tonight because I've gone a bit off
oh,
piece tonight.
all right.
I tend to write fairly quite dark, somber
Mm,
stuff and quite,
yeah.
deep stuff. And I've gone a little bit off piece tonight, so I think you'll be quite
Oh,
surprised by it. So,
okay. Well, that sounds
um,
exciting. Looking forward to
yes.
that. So, well, just to let everybody know. Oh, Chris is here saying hello, Fiona. Lovely to be with you again. Thank you very much, Chris. Lovely to have you on board.
Hey,
And
Chris.
anybody else, please do feel free. Whoop, sorry, put that back on there. Didn't mean to do that. Please feel free to make comments, ask us questions, and if you're watching on replay, it'd be lovely to have you make comments on there as well. And if you've got any questions, we'll revisit and answer them in due course, either obviously tonight or in due course if you're watching on replay. Chris is looking forward to hearing the poems, so thank you very much, Chris. Right, so the painting for tonight, it's actually not one of the ones behind me tonight. Um, these are other ones of trees, and tonight's painting is about trees very much. And let me put it on the screen. So it's called Softly Through the Canyon, and it's oil on canvas, 60 by 30 centimeters. And sadly, but also happily for me, I don't have the painting here to hang on the wall behind me because it actually went off to a new home in December last year, which was very thrilling. So that was lovely. And before I go any further as well, I'd just like to say thank you very much to my friend Julia Culp, who allowed me to use her photograph as the basis, the inspiration for this painting. If you looked at the two, you probably wouldn't realise that they were connected because it was, the photo was really the springboard, the jumping off point for the painting. It wasn't the painting certainly wasn't a copy of the photograph in any way, really. It was just that it inspired me. So thank you very much, Julia. That much appreciated. Her photograph just triggered something within me, and that's why I painted it. So, oh, beautiful painting, said Chris. Thank you very much. So, Marky Mark, would you like to read your poem first, as is the tradition on the show now?
Okay, yeah. And when you sent this through to me, I looked at it and thought, wow, that inspires me really to do something quite different. So here it goes. Softly through the canyon. The wind creeps softly through the canyon, oxygenating trees as they sway in the breeze, ignited in the fire of golden leaves, autumnal death upon wind's gentle breath. To dappled skies the foliage reach, as though desperate to escape this canyon, before one by one on the wings their leaves fly, until the barrenness of their trunks silhouette against autumn sky. With every day and every hour and every minute, the blueness of the sky shows itself moving softly through the glacial carving, adding to the picturesque wealth, framing the fire by cunning stealth. Then the wind stops, and the canyon is silent, the wilderness of sound. Just leaves of fire whispering as they expire and dance their ritual to the ground. where they bond with the earth, helping spring's rebirth. Thank you.
Wow, that is brilliant.
Yeah, I said it was something a bit different.
Yeah.
So yes,
So
and that I looked at it, and it really sort of, the first thing you see is fire. You know, those leaves at the top of the trees that are just burning there, and then you're drawn to the sunlight that's coming down and the sky, and it's got a lot of depth, as in you can move through the picture as well, I thought.
Good, excellent. I do try to create paintings that people hopefully feel they can move into and be a part of the scene, and find some tranquility and even tranquility, but also to relax and re-energize at the same time, because it's nature, and nature's so good for us. So that's brilliant that you say that. Thank you very much. Chris says, a very different poem from you. Absolutely. Very different from your normal ones. I love it. Really lovely.
But again, this is why I like doing this, because your pictures kick the imagination, and they inspire something different. I see something different in all your pictures, and that's why doing these are really good. I've actually got a piece I'm doing. A friend of mine took a picture of the Basilica in Krakow, and it's a black and white picture, and there's a Christmas tree in it and horses and carriages outside, but it's quite a dark, moody picture. And I said to her, please let me have a copy of that picture, which she has. And I'm going to be doing a piece about that, because again, it just inspires me. There's just a lot there going on that you can, that you can bring out in poetry and that. And I really enjoy doing them.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that comes through in your poetry as well, that, we can sense the enjoyment that you've had there. And Chris saying, great expression, your pics kick the imagination. Yes. That's what we want. Thank you. Yeah. So this one was actually, although it's quite soft, it was actually painted with knives, not brushes. So just showing that, even with a knife, you can still get that softness, and, for the distance, and a little bit more texture and definition in the foreground for the leaves and the trees. So
absolutely. I mean, the king of that was Bob Ross. I mean, he painted a lot with knives and that, and the results he got, particularly with trees, he used knives, and done absolutely fabulous paintings. Yeah.
Sadly, no longer with us, but his legacy lives on. So well, my poem is actually the first poem that I wrote about any of my paintings, and I did read it out on one of my very early shows, and that was before I started having guest poets. And obviously hopefully it's going to go into the book, which is it's starting preparation for that. And this one is quite a short poem, I think, because it was my first one. So I'm not sure if anyone will actually remember it by now, because that was some while ago. This is the 45th show now. But hopefully, even if they do remember it, they won't mind hearing it again if they do remember. So anyway, so here's my one. Softly through the canyon, moving with grace and care, stepping over fallen branches, enjoying the cool, moist air. Relish the gentle murmurings as the cycle of life abounds, sensing rather than hearing the barely audible sounds. The soft sense of damp leaves, the caress of a branch hanging down, listening, looking, feeling. Now, doesn't that beat a dirty old town? That was my one. Short and hopefully sweet.
That's really good.
My first one. Yeah. I can't believe that I've done so many since then as well. It's, if you'd have asked me this in 2020, I'd have thought, really? Yeah, okay. In your dreams. And now, we're on episode 45 of the show, made some lovely friends from the poets that have been on, had some fantastic poetry written about my paintings, which I feel is just such an honor, that people have taken the time and the effort to write poetry about my paintings. That just magic. And Chris says the woodland glade definitely beats the town. Absolutely agree with that any day.
Yeah.
So
and it captures that wilderness as well, that picture of being part of something there, but being in a wilderness, alone, but in a good way alone,
Yes.
So I think
solace and
the
tranquility.
poem caught that very, very well.
Oh, thank you. Well, there we go. That's another one. So what's happening on the poetry front for you then, Markey Mark?
Well, it's been very quiet. I took a step back for about 3 months because of circumstances at home and etc. However, I'm doing a feature set on Saturday evening in Nashville as part of the Gestalt poetry evening. And then I've also been invited to do some stuff for Wirral Poetry Fest, and their focus is going to be around dyslexic writers. So I've been asked to be involved with that, so I'm quite pleased with that. And I'm in tentative discussions at the moment, and starting to put together my second book.
Wow.
Which I'm quite, keen to get out as early as I can this year. So watch this space. There'll be stuff coming out on social media, the usual appetite whetters that I did. Not sure what I'm going to call it this time. At the moment, I'm working around a working title of, because my first one was The First Wave, the second one being A Tsunami of Poetry. But I might tweak that a little bit. I don't know yet. So that's being worked on. And then I'm doing a collaboration piece with Skylar Winter, who's done some work for you with your pictures. We're doing a piece where one of us writes a stanza, the other one, then the next one writes a stanza, and so on. And it's going backwards and forwards. And it will form a story. Fairly short story, but and we've used the setting of one of the things that inspired me. I quite like Krista Burr's song "Borderline" and the lyrics from that, and so it's around that sort of thing. I'm not going to say too much. Once we've done it and we've performed, we've practiced it, and we've got a collaboration spot on, then we'll be looking at a platform to perform that on, probably at some open mics, and that, and perhaps do YouTube and things like that.
You could maybe come on the show and do it as well.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Mind you, the timing, we'd have to do a recording of it because of the timing for Skylar. It's about 3 in the morning, 3:15 in the morning for her at the moment, which is a bit unfair, really, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we can arrange something. But yeah. So I'm doing that, and it'll really be a case of then see what. There'll be some stuff that comes up traditionally every year. Hopefully, I might actually make it to Leamington this year for their Literary Fest. I was due to do a 30-minute show last year and had to pull out right at the last minute because my wife was in hospital. So I'm hoping that I might actually get there this year and perform, but it's all very much dependent on all sorts of things. But yeah, so it is as it is, but I've got stuff to going. And I'll obviously hopefully be asked to do some more of your pictures and some poetry for them.
Absolutely, yeah. And I do find it fascinating. You say like with the Wirral Fest. I do find it amazing how someone with dyslexia can write such beautiful poetry. It's just, I know
Yeah,
it's the reading and writing of it, but it's just,
I think because our minds move at such a pace, and we think very much outside the box. And one of the skills that is highlighted for many dyslexic people is their ability to empathise.
Right.
And yeah, we think outside the box, and what you can do when you're doing poetry, particularly with something like this, is you can just let your mind run. So you just let your mind run and you get it down on the page, and then you go back and you can edit it and take a bit out, think, no, that doesn't work, and I can put that in instead, and or something, that'll sound better there, and things like that. And so actually it does lend itself to dyslexic writers, because
Wow.
and there's a number of us about. I mean, Sam Rabb is quite a well-known dyslexic poet. She's been on the circuit quite a while, and there are a number around who, some of them not openly dyslexic, but yeah, and we struggle to varying degrees with it. I mean, I'm fortunate. I mean, I use quite a bit of tech to help me sort of with spelling and punctuation, and I've got tech that will read it back to me, so I know how it sounds, and I can then, by it being read back to me, I can hear whether I've missed something out, whether I need to put a comma in, whether I need to end the sentence, whether it sounds right, and that. But yeah, essentially, as with story writers, in some ways, it's actually good for dyslexics, because you can let your mind go. You can, you don't have to constrain it. You can just dump it on the paper and get those thoughts out. And it doesn't matter how jumbled they are, because you can then go back and sort them out. And I think that's why it works for a lot of dyslexic writers, because we haven't got those constraints that you have in a classroom or in an office. You can just dump it there. And so your mind can go off in all sorts of tangents, and and you can bring in stuff that that's happened to you that day, or something you've heard in the week, and the sky's the limit, really. And that's one of the things that often dyslexic people are very good at, is the thinking outside the box.
Which leads me on, because there've been quite a few very successful business people that are dyslexic as well, isn't there? So, maybe it's because of that outside the box thinking, as opposed to, I mean, you can always get someone else to write it down, can't you? But if you haven't got the ideas in the first place, and maybe that, as you say, it's that way that the brain works when you're dyslexic, having those other ideas that, it's just having something different, isn't it? Because any successful business really is got to fill a niche.
Well, what's
successful.
What's interesting is the company EY have done some research on this. They did it and presented it to a company called Dyslexic Thinking, and what they found was that the skills that are needed for the future workforce are directly compatible with those that people who are neurodiverse bring. And that's often things like customer service skills, working with people, thinking outside the box, ideas, etc. Now, I believe that Virgin have now do not look at qualifications when they're recruiting. They recruit people purely on their merit. And what they can bring to the company. NASA and GCHQ have a policy of recruiting, I think it's a third of their workforce are neurodiverse. So they will have dyslexia, or they will have ADHD or something like that, because they've recognised the importance of that blue sky thinking, that out of the box thinking, that suddenly you get it, not having to go around the houses. And they've also accommodated them in terms of, they've had to change their rules so people can use things like echo pens and things like that to record things, and that because these people are so valuable to them in the way that they think. And yeah, the future skills that people are going to need in the workplace are not necessarily going to be the written skills. Another one, when you say about somebody else writing it down, reminds me of again this dyslexic thinking.
Hi, Ritesh.
They had Kelly Hop. They were interviewing Kelly Hoppen, who's a well-known designer, and she had a designer working for her who was an absolute fantastic designer, but he never got his paperwork done. And she kept chasing him, and in the end, she had him in the office and said, "Are you dyslexic?" And he went, "Yeah, I am." And she said, "Why didn't you come and tell me in the first place?" And so what she did, she said, "I wasn't going to sack him." She said, "He was a fantastic designer." She said, "I just got somebody else to do his paperwork."
Yes.
So we took somebody on to do his paperwork, and he produced the designs, and he, and the company benefits hugely from it.
It's having that mix as well, isn't it? The mix of the different skills, and
absolutely,
it's just, especially for a company that's like a design company, as you say, or a business that's wanting to be, innovative and entrepreneurial. When you've got that mix of skills, and when they all work together well, somebody doing his paperwork, him having the fantastic design ideas. That's what we really need, isn't it? There's places for everybody in this world, really. So
it is. It can be quite frustrating when you're sitting in like a business meeting and there's an idea floating around and everybody's running through this idea and know all the stages of it and the development of it, and you're sitting there thinking, what you're worried about, I get it. I've understood it, and I'm there. To me, this is how it's going to work. It's going to do this, and I'm there, and it's done. And whereas your colleagues are still going through how would we do this? How would we do that? And that can be quite frustrating for somebody whose brain's dyslexic. And you're on to the next thing by then.
Because you grasp the concept without having to worry about how you write it down, sort of thing. The concept's all there built.
Yeah, without having to go around the houses and explore it. And that we just kind of get it. And, and that's
fascinating.
Yeah.
Ritesh says it's a pleasure listening to us both. That was who I was waving at just now, by the way. Ritesh is watching in. Thank you, Ritesh. Lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you, Ritesh. It's lovely lovely that you're there.
He's going to be back on the show soon as well.
Brilliant.
So that'll be something else to look forward to. So, it's been brilliant. So, what have I got coming up with painting? Well, we've started Kingston's again for this year. We started last Saturday. It was a bit quiet, but then January normally is. But, it was quiet as a whole in Kingston, not that many people about as you would expect later in the year, sort of thing. So we're doing that, and I'm actually working on a series at the moment of small canvas panels that I've covered in gold leaf, and I think I mentioned these last time, and working on them with oils. So some of them will have more gold leaf showing than others, but it's all that showing through on all of them. And so that's coming on. I'm hoping to release that to my VIP mailing list next month, so they'll get to see them first at also a special VIP price as well. So if anyone wants to sign up to my mailing list, please do. You're not too late. So get first pick of those before they get released to the public at my normal sort of prices. So do sign up if you'd like to my list. So that's good fun working on those, and I should be doing some bigger paintings as well. So hopefully there'll be some new paintings very soon for to be poemed, as it were. So looking forward to hearing those. And I think anybody that was watching last week, you probably heard me then as well. But I'm probably not going to be doing a poem every week going forwards, because I really want to get more painting done at the moment, and it does take quite a bit of my energy and time writing a poem every week, as I'm not, poetry isn't my first artistic love. So but I shall still be having my poets on with their beautiful poems about my paintings. So but it'll just change the format a little bit. So if anyone has got anything that they'd like to hear from my poets as well, or any ideas, any suggestions, do feel free to put them in the comments. We want to make these shows fun and interesting for people. So if you let us know things that you'd like to hear about, or even if you'd like to come on the show, then let me know, and see what we can do. So yeah, so it's all good fun. The book's going to keep me occupied for a while as well, I think, trying to get that sorted out. It's going to be a task, shall we say, but hopefully well worth doing, and really excited about it. Yeah, so I shall keep you all advised of progress on that, and look forward to your second book coming out as well, Markey Mark. That's another exciting thing. So yeah, I think there's quite a few people that have got books in progress at the moment. So
yes, there was a big flurry last year of them. People were releasing them like billy ho. So I think there'll probably be a few follow-ups this year. So that'd be good.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I think we're probably almost at the time again. Don't know where it goes. I think we could just chat on with all my guests, I feel like I could just chat on for at least the same amount of time again. Probably won't have many people left watching us by the end of that. But then they could join in more, making more comments, and never know, we could always even invite them onto the call as well, because that's possible. The way we're doing this, we could invite them on the call.
They could do a Q&A, couldn't they?
Absolutely, yeah. So that would be good. That's another idea, isn't it, as well? Yeah. So all things for the future to keep it interesting. But thanks ever so much, Markey Mark, for coming back on the show again.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And as I say, love your poem. That's another one that will be in the book. So that's great. And I'll be back again next week, next Wednesday, which will be the 26th, normal time, 7 p.m. Oh, Chris is saying, really interesting conversation as always. Thank you. Like the idea of a Q&A. Brilliant. Thank you. So anybody that would like to get involved with us like that as well and join in the actual show on screen, do let me know. It'd be great. So fantastic having you on, Markey Mark. Really loved it. Great to just chat, and I've learned some things tonight as well, which is always good. And look forward to having you back again.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for watching, whether you've been watching live or on replay, and thank you for your likes and hearts and everything. That's lovely. Thank you so much. And hopefully see you all again next week. So take care, everybody. Stay safe, and bye from both of us. Take care. Bye. Bye.